Hey YouTube, this is the Art of Prepping. Just wanted to have a quick conversation about should you prepare for your neighbors? Should you put away some preps for your family? Should you have the forethought to put a couple things, maybe a small pack or so, together for friends? This is a question you hear commonly among preppers, especially when they have those around them, those that they care for and love that don't want to prepare. So these are my thoughts and my thoughts only about this issue. Now, concerning, let's just say, the neighbors, depending on where you live and how rural you are, you may just pick the most immediate neighbors that are around you, maybe just on each side of you or maybe across the street. So you may only have 4 or 5 people that you would be more concerned about, because there is the likelihood that they could come over and ask for help if there was a major trauma, a major disaster, major emergency. And if they're not prepared, they may go to you because they may see that you're not having any kind of any problems and you're not going without. So that's one concern. If you live more in an urban area, suburban, or especially in the inner cities, you may want to just keep a lower profile. May want to have some preps, but the problem about this is that if the word got out that you're giving preps out to your immediate neighbors, there could be a lot of other people asking for help and drawing a lot of unnecessary and unneeded and wanted attention. So if you're living in a more rural area like I do, it may not be the worst thing to have a few extra bags or packs or kits set aside just for your most immediate neighbors, especially those that you know that may need a little help. It could be elderly, they could have disabilities. You just don't know. So I just wanted to point that out, that I think it might be a good idea in some cases to have maybe up to a 72-hour kit for certain neighbors, especially the elderly and those who may have issues trying to get on by themselves, or maybe people who are somewhat prepared-minded, but they're just not. They may not even have the means to go too far in with their preps, and so they could be a beginner prepper. The next category would be friends. The friend thing is, I think that they, especially if they're close to your age and you've talked to them about this particular issue about preparing, that's kind of their fair warning. At the same time, you do care for your friends and you don't want to see them suffer. I would say for local friends, if they're within a few miles of where you live and you have the means to do it and the storage capability, then maybe put aside a small kit. I would say, once again, maybe up to a 72-hour kit for your friends. But if you have a lot of friends that live nearby, you may have to just pick which ones are probably the most in need for that type of assistance. For example, if you know that you have friends with a lot of money and they can afford their own preps, but just make it a point not to do it, I think I'd have a lot less motivation to help those individuals. I still would help them, but I wouldn't go as far as friends that are on a tight budget. Maybe they have multiple kids. Maybe they're working an extra job and they can barely make it. Those kind of people, I would set at least a 72-hour kit. But for friends that are out of town, I think that's just going to be out of my control. Yes, it's possible that you may be in the safe zone and friends could be fleeing to you for help. In that situation, you should probably have resources already in your area to help, and there's probably not going to be a need to have a kit for them. So I'd say only for local friends, probably within about a 5-mile radius of your location, or maybe more, depends on your desire to be helpful. That's just what I would say for me personally. So I would have a 72-hour kit or roughly of that nature for them. Now family is the most tricky, and I left it to the very end for this reason. Families can be a problem in a sense, because they can pull on your heartstrings. They can make you feel guilty if you don't help them. At the same time, if you've talked to them, and these supposedly are some of your most closest people in the world, the closest relationships you have, they should know that you know what your mentality is, and hopefully you've shared over the years the need to prepare. So with that being said, there's a thing called tough love, but there's also a thing called mitigating suffering, and you have to find a nice balance in between there. Once again, if they're neighbors that are very close by, within 5 to 10 miles, I would definitely have a 72-hour kit put aside for them, no doubt about it. If you have more resources, I'd go for 1 to 2 weeks. especially for the nucleus family members, your brothers and sisters if you have them. If your parents are still alive, I'd have definitely a couple weeks for them. If you can afford it and if you have space to store it, and if it's not a major burden on you and your personal family. With that being said, though, it's probably a good idea to also diversify some of your preps as well to some other people's homes. So if you had to go there, you would already have your preps, or at least part of your preps already there, and they should do the same to you. At least you should promote that idea. So with that, I thank you for listening to this. Hope this helped on some level. If you should or should not, help friends, family, and neighbors and do some storing of preps for them. I hope this maybe clarified a few things, because sometimes I kind of struggle with this me personally, and so that's how it is. Thanks for watching.